Thank you for being here today. I'm really very happy to be moderating this panel on gender inclusivity, a topic that touches us all, whether at work, in our communities, or in our daily lives. As mentioned before, this isn't just about fairness, it's about creating space where everyone has a voice and where diversity leads to better ideas and better outcomes. We're lucky to have with us 4 great panelists who will share their experiences and insights. And I hope this panel will leave you with ideas, inspirations, and maybe even few questions to take back with you. I would like to introduce our panelists briefly, but I encourage you to connect and follow them on LinkedIn to learn more about them and about their impressive and impactful work. We have with us first Dr. Muna Itani. She's an assistant professor of entrepreneurship at OSB AUB. She is a recognized advocate for women in technology and entrepreneurship, co-founding initiatives like Girls Got It to empower young women in STEM fields. Dr. Itani's work bridges academia and social innovation, focusing on creating inclusive systems and promoting gender equality in the tech and entrepreneurship industry. Please. Our second panelist is Mrs. Lama Zeinoun Tabet, a seasoned development professional and cluster coordinator at GIZ Lebanon. With a strong background in youth empowerment and non-formal education, Mrs. Tabet had led large-scale initiatives focused on education, skills development, and community resilience. Her work also bridges local engagement with international cooperation, and she's a passionate advocate for inclusive development and gender equity. She is leading the Sustainable Economic Development Cluster at GIZ Lebanon, and she is also the gender focal point. Our third panelist, the only man on this panel, Dr. Ahmed Radi. He is the CEO and founder of EGMAG Biotechnology. Dr. Radi has pioneered the commercial-scale production of bioactive material from black soldiers' fly larvae. His innovative work contributes to sustainable agriculture and waste management solutions, aligning with the principle of gender inclusivity. His workers are 70% are women-led, and he is promoting responsible practices that benefit all communities. Last but not least, our final panelist is Mrs. Michelle Shammas Gharzouzi. She holds a unique dual role by bridging the worlds of petroleum and the world of luxury. She is the Chief Innovation Officer at Medco and is the President at Gallup. She is leader in driving innovation and sustainability in the energy sector, from EV infrastructure to empowering teams through learning and recognition. Mrs. Gharzouzi is also a strong advocate for gender inclusivity, both in the workplace and beyond. Welcome. Let me directly start by asking you, Michelle. What is key to gender inclusivity other than equal pay and hiring pay?
Hello. The magic word that you said is inclusivity. Because the most important thing that you can do when somebody works next to you is to include them, is to see them, to respect them, to view them, to feel them, and to make them happy. That's the most important. So it's not about woman or man, it's about everyone. It's about also mentoring them, coaching them, and finding places for them to grow And this is why we have created the Medco Academy 5 years ago to take rural inclusion and have our people feel at home at work is to take them to leadership positions. So today, because maybe you'll believe me more, Chantal Najam, please. Manager Leaders Plus. Zeinoun Khoury, Manager Diesel. Lamis Tanous Kamen, Brand Field Manager. So, women at leading departments and winning.
Thank you for being here. We are very proud of what Medco is doing and hoping that most of the Lebanese enterprise will follow your example. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Ahmed, as a business in a rural area, how was your leadership played a role in shifting the perception of working women in rural areas?
It's about patience and persistence to change the mindset. 43% of rural women not empowered in working. Our story, it's been more than 5 years. It's to, we made or working in new. It's about cycling of or how to include and empowering women in this industry. And we begin our story to how to make a walk talk and by women and how to empower them, train them, making a model for self-learning and continuous learning. It's about, we have 3 layers in our company: middle management, technician, and something of senior technicians. All of this category has a specific mindset how to, we learn how to talk with them, empowering and making draw their road to achieve what we need from them. Also, we make a flexible hour to work, flexibility, how to retention. Last year, the maternity, not 3 months, it's 4 months.
Oh, very good.
Yes, and this is positively for their work. Also, when it's about the safety of work, safety of future, and we see adding value. Every day, the women come to work, they have an adding value. To you saving the world, saving the climate change, making every single and every tiny work you do, you add the value for your children, the future of them, and also increase the income of others by indirectly. Thank you.
I believe you should be very proud of what you are doing, and the community should be very proud also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lama, what are some common barriers you see, or what sort of resistance do you get from companies that you support to become more gender inclusive?
Hello, okay. Thank you first for this very important topic. Before answering your question, allow me to introduce a little bit the GIZ and to say why gender and GIZ and what does it mean. So GIZ, it's a company owned by the German government, and it is commissioned to implement projects mainly by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development and the EU, with the partner countries where we operate, including Lebanon. So gender at GIZ, it's first a cross-cutting topic. Second, it's a strategic priority. So when we are designing and implementing projects, we follow the safeguard and gender management system to ensure that we are following the principles of do no harm and leave no one behind. So as a priority and a strategic topic in the company, it's embedded in our programs, it's embedded in our indicators, it's embedded in how we implement activities. And these programs also sometimes target small and medium-sized enterprises and also works on employment promotion. So when we are working in the private sector with companies, the companies are aware from the beginning that gender inclusivity is a priority. And we work with them to ensure it and to support them basically to become more gender inclusive. So what barriers do they face or do we face when we are working in these programs? First, we're speaking about cultural norms and traditions. Now, we all know that cultural norms affect how society sees men and women, what men are allowed to do or not allowed to do, what women are allowed to do and not allowed to do, and basically this limits their capacity to join the workforce and to be retained in the workforce. And sometimes external factors come and they challenge the stereotype. Very simple example, Corona, we were all locked down. And many breadwinners who were males lost their jobs, or they were not able to work anymore and support the family. And many women stepped in during this phase and started to be the main breadwinner, which is okay. And this is something that we need to accept. So external factors come and challenge these stereotypes and change it with time. Second, family businesses. We all know that we are in a country that inheritance is mainly for the male heirs. However, we do see now more family businesses with women leading them, and I think we have examples on the panel here that we are all proud of. Then we have the customer perception, and we are still seeing customers who say, can I trust a woman to do my electrical housework? Yes, you can, but do they trust this? And this is also another challenge that we need to face and we need to break. The second category is related to the legal framework. Now, we are all very proud that in 2020, the Parliament passed the law of the sexual harassment and the rehabilitation of its victims, but it still has gaps. So it's not only about having a criminal law, it's also about having anti-discrimination law. It's also about improving the labor law. And basically not only have a supporting environment, but also legal regulations that are part of it. The third one, it's the enabling environment. And here, allow me, this is the last challenge that I want to speak about, because it has two folds. The first, it's the enabling environment in the workplace. So how much are we flexible in our working modalities? We all know now that after Corona, many work modalities started to emerge. Hybrid work, online or in the office, or hybrid, flexible working hours. And we have laws that are the threshold, but the law does not give you the ceiling. I am one of the people who fought to have more days for fathers after their wife give birth. So it's always about how much we as company want to go beyond the threshold and offer work modalities that are flexible and attracting and retaining the talent. Now, the other fold is at home. And we all know that women step into the workforce and they end up doing the work outside the house and the work inside the house. And here we need transformative approaches. Care work is also a responsibility that everyone can do in the house. So mainly these are the three challenges that are faced: cultural, legal, and enabling environment.
Yes, thank you. Indeed, women are becoming more and more multitasking, and we need much more insight to change the cultural and the tradition in Lebanon. But I think we are on the right track, and companies and people are starting to shift and to understand the importance of having women on board of the companies. Dr. Muna, with number, is there still a big difference between men and women founders as entrepreneurship? Are you seeing more women venturing into it? Is there any data, if we want numbers, to compare between 10 years ago and today?
All right, thank you. So I just want to acknowledge, first of all, that there's an error in my affiliation. So I'm not the director of the Zen Innovation Park, but I was actually nominated by the director to be here today. So I'm representing AUB, Alliance School of Business, but not directly the iPark. So basically based on statistics, and of course, Corinne was sharing some numbers. She said only 8% of women are founders. So based on my own statistics, when we talk about entrepreneurship, and this is where sometimes the different surveys give different results. It depends on how we define founders or entrepreneurs. When it comes to entrepreneurship or startups, the percentage of women is higher than 8%. So we believe it's at between 20 and 30%. And this is in conformity with the rest of the world. So we are on par with the rest of the world, which is good or bad, depending on how you see it. So basically, we have seen, of course, improvement in women entrepreneurship over the last decade. In Lebanon, very particularly, we are not sure now, like after the consecutive 5 years of consecutive disasters, what happened exactly. So we need more recent data, new surveys that would look into this. We do know from, again, international surveys and statistics that COVID, for example, had an impact on women negatively. We do believe, based on our research, not necessarily quantitative research, but also qualitative research, that usually disasters, crises, they have more severe impact on women than men because of the points that were just mentioned. And this means that we might not be actually improving in the very current situation we are in. Of course, we hope that we will be improving. We had the minister, very positive vibes, forward-looking. This is all great. Of course, when things are better, women will be more engaged. However, I want to pinpoint one very important thing, which is part of my research. Like, we cannot just rely on the organic or natural improvement of how women, integrate themselves and engage in these sectors. Because if you just want to keep it organic, research says that we will need around 100 years or more. Also, given that we don't have new big disasters. And there are forecasts that we will have more things like COVID. I mean, God forbid, but there is also evidence that we will continue to have disasters, coming up, and they will be big ones. So, which means that if we just want to rely on the organic involvement of women, we might not reach parity or equality in the next 100 years. Which means that this is where we go back to how intentional we have to be as stakeholders in this environment, in this enabling environment, to engage more women. All right, and I have experience from multiple places. So iPark, for example, which is written in my affiliation, they were intentional about attracting more women entrepreneurs into their cohorts of startups and the 3 different phases. So they have the idea stage, the MVP stage, and the growth stage. And with this intentional endeavor, they were able to raise the percentage of women-led startups to 35%. So I'm an entrepreneur. I worked in mostly the startup education kind of field. And I was very intentional about attracting girls because we work with younger women, so sometimes teenagers. And we were successful to actually have 55% girls in our cohorts. So if you are intentional about it, this is what I want to say, it works. We're not saying leave meritocracy. And now there's this huge global debate about DEI versus meritocracy. They don't contradict, they shouldn't contradict. I'm sure Beritech, when they were putting this event together, they didn't struggle too much to find capable women to be on the stage. So this is what we just need to do, to be more thoughtful, more intentional, and make sure we find the right women in the right place. And there are women out there. So again, they are there. We just have to encourage them, bring them in, show them that they are welcomed.
So, Dr. Muna, you are with the quota in the private and the public sector?
Definitely, yes.
So it's a good thing. So our next panel will be with the ministers then. We should move there now. So, Michel, back to you. As Dr. Muna mentioned, now we are living in this disruption and mega trends, and this disruption is our new normal. But we are still seeing great measures taken by Medco. Have you embedded ESG as part of CSR efforts, or it is core to your company culture? Okay, I'm seeing now all the ladies here, but just for the audience to understand more, especially that it's traditionally, it's a male-dominated industry. So can you explain more about it?
So ESG is core to our sustainability. ESG is core to our company's culture. And this is why we reach 115 years because of ESG. I have to tell you a little anecdote before we go into the subject. But since the 50s and 60s, we started in 1910. But next to the station, we always had a backyard that was planted. Yani you weren't born, most of you, but when we used to go to Medco Tanayil, one of our first stations, we had in the backyard dara, corn. And in Daura, we had Ard el-Frez, we had strawberries. So it's embedded in our DNA. In many stations, I'm not going to name them, you have the backyard that is planted.
This is good for the agriculture of Lebanon. We need this more and more.
Yes. In 2018, we introduced to Lebanon the first EV chargers to reduce CO2. It wasn't to go into innovation only. It wasn't because let's do that because we have electric cars, but it was in a mission to reduce CO2. We planted trees. I'm not going to brag about everything we did for the environment. But environment and sustainability are the two urgencies in our industry. If we don't do it, we die. Why? We would be seen as petroleum companies, as polluters, or as not caring. If you don't care about your environment or your community, you're gone. For CSR, these are specific missions. So for example, what we did with Rebirth Beirut, we lit 156 streets in Beirut to move our community from one station to a better station. لأنه العتمة ما بتلبق لنا. So we did that. We did many CSR, ندفي البيوت, etc. But sustainability is in our core strategy. As for the G,
Yes,
it's my
the
favorite.
governance.
It's my favorite because I'm Gharzouzi, so G. G is, if you don't have good governance, you can't take ethical decisions. So we need to concentrate on ethical decisions, on gender equality, on accountability, on transparency. The proof that we did this for the past century is that we're still here and that we are the reference of the industry because we care about governance and reputation, which is very
Excellent.
important.
Thank you. So till now we have two take not away with us. One for most of the family businesses or the private sector to have the ESG and to be ESG compliant for a better economy in Lebanon. And second, to make a quota in the public and in the private sector to have more women on board. So Dr. Ahmed, following what Michelle was saying, and as part of our company also of Quinta Group, we have modified our HR manual to be more ESG compliant, as you were mentioning before, to be more addressed related to gender. So did you make any kind of effort to cater for the women in your company? Because also you were part of the We4F program. You mentioned before you moved the maternity leave from 3 to 4 months. What other did you do? For example, separate bathroom, adding policies for sick leaves, anything that you could mention as examples?
Let me say it's about feeling of SESG, not put it in the paper. It's about how the company and the institute and the people inside the company feel the ESG, how to they add an environmentally friendly, sustainable, low carbon emission product. Another thing, how they, the impact of economic in their income and the other income. Also, the governance of these numbers, how to making this impact assessed and addressing and put it in something of KPIs. Back to the paper, and as a member of We4F, it's we made a technical assistance for empowering rural women. We launched our product. Our project is something of social and empowering women. It's called Rizq min Khair Beitik, for empowering women as a micro businesses in rural area to upcycling their organic waste in their home. In this project, we learned how make the environmental effect and impact, how we measure it. And this is also this is an experience how to the companies work as an impact business. All of our companies, most of it, not have a knowledge how to measure the impact, how to make a knowledge with a simple way to the team and middle management and also
yes,
just
very important to
yes.
measure and to measure all the impacts you are doing and all the things you are doing. Sorry, I need to, because they started to tell me we have to to hurry. So Lama, there are different feminist movements. Does this impact how you work with partners and target groups?
Yes, there are.
Please, in a short...
Very quickly, there are different feminist movements and schools, and we all know it. And basically, people can study it if they go into gender studies. For GIZ, gender equality is approached as a basic human right. And this is how we work on it. It's about offering the right opportunity and basically also responding to what the women need and taking into consideration what is available, what is doable, and the infrastructure that is available. So it's a human rights. We do it from a human rights lens and approach. So regardless of what feminism or what feminist schools they are part of, they are all welcome, of course. This is different ideologies, and we totally respect it, but for us, it's a human right, and this is how we work on it.
Thank you. Dr. Muna, since you started to focus more on gender inclusivity, have you seen any difference in the company's performance?
Yes, so I will answer this from a researcher perspective.
Yes.
So again, research shows that, and like we should take this and believe it, that whenever there is one woman on the board of a company, then the performance will improve.
Is there a percentage difference or no? Is there a
from
number?
0 to 1, like usually there are no women on boards. So whenever you just have one, then the performance would improve. So this is why LLWB, they were talking about this initiative of women on boards in Lebanon, because we believe, again, this is backed up by research, international research, that by just having, again, at least one woman on the board, then the performance would really improve. And this is something we should keep in mind. And I just want to link this back to the ESG conversation. Also based on my qualitative research, I mean, I do women tech entrepreneurship very specifically, so not women entrepreneurship in general, but technology-specific entrepreneurship. And I found out by talking to more than 40 women tech entrepreneurs in Lebanon that they have a strong drive to impact. So naturally, it seems women until today are still impact driven, which means that because they have this embedded in their DNA, it would be easier for companies to actually comply with, ESG standards and so on. So this is, in my opinion, an obvious win whenever we have more women in whether the C-suite or on the boards of companies.
Excellent. So I'd like to hear from all of you. I have one question for the fourth of you, a short answer, please. So because at Quinta, we've noticed that some role might naturally fit better with women and others with men. For example, a sales engineer in the agriculture field has to drive long distance, face hectic schedules, and sometimes deal with safety concerns. So this is a better role for a man. Michelle, do you observe similar role distinctions or challenges in your industry? And please, everyone.
Okay, no, we don't know what challenge means. We don't know what impossible means. We don't know. We have Linda Aqel, a truck driver, يعني سيتيرن يعني truck يعني صهريج.
The bulk, yes.
Okay, she's been with us for 12 years. She's amazing. We have stigma أكيد in Lebanon إنه هيدا الindustry for men وهيدا الindustry for women. So it's our job to change the job requirements to include women and to look at the CV without seeing a picture. Like, I don't want to see if he's a man or a woman. I want to see meritocracy. I want to see if he can do the job, if he can succeed, and if I want him in my boss so we can move faster.
Great. Dr. Ahmed.
I think we not faced a challenge in safety and inclusion. Some challenge in retention, but we in last 2 years we have a high retention rate, or 3 years high retention rate. It's very rare to the woman to leave the work, and after we create the culture inside the society, the company. If from 3 months ago when we make advertising for a job, we received more than 100 CVs in our. Thank you.
Thank you. Lama.
So for us, it's a historical and a cultural misconception, not a biological truth. So in our different projects, we supported women to pursue careers in solar panel installations and maintenance, and they did it. We supported them in becoming welders, and they did it, electricians, and they did it. At the same time, we did support young men who were interested in the beauty industry that is foreseen or considered as a female sector, and they excelled in it. So it's not suited for X or Y, or not suited for X and not for Y. Again, it's about interest, it's about opportunity, and an enabling environment.
Excellent. Dr. Muna.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what has been said, meaning that it depends on the person. So we have these generalizations which don't render true when we look at the individual level. And when we talk about business models and companies, I mean, you will not hire the entire, gender. You'll just hire a person. So you have to look at the capabilities of the person. But I want also to loop it back to the entrepreneurship discussion. When we talk about VC funding, for example, the reason why women don't get funded is because of the cultural stereotypes of whether she can do it, she cannot do it. If she's impact-driven, then it means she's not profit-driven. Like who said? We can be both impact and profit-driven. We can run a family and a business. And of course, in order to improve VC funding for women, we need more VCs who are women themselves, and we need them to be trained also not just by men, but to be trained using a different mindset. So I think, we have systemic challenges that if we want really to improve the opportunities of women to have equal chances, we need to look back at the root causes. And we have to redefine certain things that fit in our context more. So this part of our research is like, does the Silicon Valley model, like the job description, the status quo of VC, does it really fit this region? Does it really fit Lebanon more specifically? Based on my research, it doesn't fit. Not just for women, but also for men. So we need to actually rethink some definitions that we just, import and try to replicate here without giving them the contextualization and customization that they need.
Thank you. I will leave the floor now for any questions you may have. Is there any question? Yes? If someone, yes, if you can approach to hear you well, please.
I want to first thank you for this very insightful
Please introduce
panel.
yourself also.
My name is Elsa Kordahi. I'm an executive coach and trainer for family businesses. So, Mrs. Lama, I wanted you to, if you can elaborate a little bit on your experience with family businesses. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. We, as GIZ, we implement projects that offer employment opportunities, or we support directly small and medium-sized enterprises. Now, sometimes most of the time, these are family businesses. We know that the percentage of family-owned businesses in Lebanon is very high. Now, our experience really depends on the project. Sometimes in our project indicator, we have a very high percentage to work with enterprises that are owned by women or that have women on their board. And what we see in these businesses is basically a diverse workforce that enhances creativity, that has better decision making. And when we support these businesses with a gender inclusive working environment, we see higher talent retention, low turnover, so they don't lose the woman talent. Allow me here to give just a very small input. Based on the Global Gender Gap Report 2024, Lebanon ranks 111 globally on the education attainment of women. But when it comes to the economic participation, it's 122, much lower. Why? Because we know that based on the challenges we have all been discussing, women tend to leave the workforce after marriage or having children. And this is where you lose the talent. And sometimes they don't even join the workforce because they don't want to face these challenges. So when we have women-owned businesses, or we have women who are decision makers, sometimes they don't have to own the business. But if they are head of the finance department, they are in a decision-making position. You see diversity in decision-making, better innovation, and basically more inclusive workforce because they are part of the workforce. And when they are passing new laws or regulations, they are part of the decision-making. So I hope I answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? So thank you for our incredible panelists for sharing your insights, your experience, and your visions. Thank you for the audience. And I like always to take the takeaway note with us. So correct me if I forgot something. So most of the private sector should be more and more ESG compliant. We should have a quota, women quota for men and women. It's not about men or women, it's more about basic human rights. It's about meritocracy. And we need to work more on cultural stereotype and misconception in the Lebanese market. So thank you, and hope that you take this with you to everywhere you go.